to Movies on the Brain. Today I'm diving into the gritty, intense world of Edison. Directed by David James Burke, this crime thrill you know, takes us deep into the underbelly of a corrupt city where justice is hard to come by. With performances from Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey, and Justin Timberlake, Edison promises a gripping ride through crime, corruption, and the quest for truth. Before we get started, a quick warning. This review is filled with spoilers. If you haven't seen Edison yet, you might want to watch it first and then come back and join us. In this review, I share my first time viewing experience, unpacking the intricate plot twists, character dynamics, and dark atmospheric setting of the film. Get ready to explore the dangerous streets of Edison and uncover the secrets lurking within. Let's get started. Now, I couldn't find a whole lot about the box office on this, but here's what I did find. It opened in theaters on July 18th, 2006, with a budget of $25 million, only in European, African, and Asian Pacific markets. In those markets, it earned a total of $4.1 million over the course of 6 weeks. Unfortunately, it never saw a worldwide release. Now let's check out the plot. In the town of Edison, a police pursuit by tactical unit Pratt first respond assault and tactical ends with a shootout in which veteran detective Francis Lazaroff kills the criminal by shooting him through the sleeve of a hostage. Later, Lazaroff and his partner Raphael Rafe Deed break into a house and steal money and cocaine from two dealers. After Lazaroff hears one of the dealers say he's going to rat them out, Lazaroff tells Deed to shoot them, but Deed cannot, and so Lazaroff kills the dealer. He tells the surviving dealer, Isaiah Charles, to say that his partner attacked him with a knife, so he had to shoot him, covering up the cop's actions and sparing Charles's life. At the trial, Deed testifies about the incident to match the story Lazaroff made up. Reporter Joshua Pollock overhears Charles thanking the cops and tries to question them about it with no success. He tries to write a story about it, but his editor, Moses Ashford, tells him to just write the verdict since he doesn't have facts to back up his theory about the cops being corrupt. Ashford fires Pollock after Pollock calls him a fraud. Pollock shows his girlfriend Willow his article and she agrees with Ashford. Meanwhile, Deed is troubled by the shootout and subsequent raid while his girlfriend Maria, while out with his girlfriend Maria. He goes out for his inspection, private club where cop from the frat unit drink and play with strippers. Frat captain Brian Tillman is also there. Pollock arrives at Ashford's house and tells him he's right about the story and asks for help in finding out more. Ashford gives him some tips and tells him to do the work. Pollock goes to interview Charles, who promises him he'll help if Pollock can give a message to his sick mother. After further investigating and bringing his suspicions to District Attorney Jack Reigart and investigator Levin Wallace, Pollock and his girlfriend are beaten near to death outside a dance club where Deed happens to be dancing as well. After Deed rushes out to help him, he recognizes the assailants as two cops from his unit, one of which was Lazaroff. Deed visits Pollock in the hospital and meets Ashford. After seeing one of Tillman's lackeys running out, having intended to kill Pollock, Deed tells Ashford he's not safe and to move him. Wallace sets him up at his family farm for his safety while he investigates the unit. Charles is murdered in prison, and Lazaroff tells Deed that his problem is solved. Lazaroff arrives at Wallace's farm to kill Pollock, who escapes on a bicycle after blowing up Lazaroff's car. Wallace and Ashford find him at a payphone after going searching. Tillman meets Lazaroff in a parking garage to chew him out for going rogue, and they argue about how Edison used to need brute force, but now needs finesse, which Lazaroff does not have. At a bar, Pollock meets Deed to try and convince him to come forward because he can likely get immunity. Deed refuses, telling him the courts are corrupt as well. At the frat office, Lazarov attacks Deed because of a Herald article about the attack outside the club, which ends with Tillman fatally shooting Lazarov. Afterward, Deed sneaks back in at night and finds proof of the unit's corruption for Pollock, which he gives him the next day. As he is about to get married, he tells Pollock he wants to get married for death benefits, implying he believes Frat will have him killed, and he wants Maria to be taken care of financially. Wallace shows Ashford the headquarters for Better Edison, a money laundering corporation that Reiger is heavily involved in. Pollock prepares electronic copies of his story and sends them off to Ashford to print in the Herald. He also mails copies to several major newspapers. Deed is dispatched to kill Pollock, but saves his life after one of his colleagues attempts to finish the job. After being chased by Frat to a construction site, Deed kills the members of the unit, including Tillman, who was holding Pollock hostage. Reiger arrives, and Ashford tells him he will release all the evidence of Reiger and Better Edison's involvement with Frat and money laundering if he ever tries to run for office. Reiger quietly dissolves Better Edison. Pollock goes on to live with Willow after she recovers. Deed leaves law enforcement to live quietly with his pregnant wife, looking around to make sure he is safe. Now let's check out the cast and some other roles they've had. Morgan Freeman as Moses Ashford. Other roles for Morgan Freeman include God in Bruce Almighty, Lucius Fox in the Dark Knight trilogy, and Carter Chambers in The Bucket List. LL Cool J as Officer Raphael Deed. Other roles for LL Cool J include Special Agent Sam Hanna in the TV show NCIS Los Angeles, Captain Patrick Zebo in Toys, and Ronnie Jones in H2O in Halloween H2O 20 years later. Justin Timberlake as Joshua Pollock. Other roles for Justin Timberlake include Ronnie Morgan in Black Snake Moan, Sean Parker in Social Network, and Branch in the Trolls franchise. Kevin Spacey as Detective Levin Wallace. Other roles for Kevin Spacey include Mel Prophet in the TV show Wise Guy, Frank Underwood in the TV show House of Cards, and John Doe in Seven. Dylan McDermott as Sergeant Francis Lazaroff. Other roles for Dylan McDermott include Bobby McDonnell in the TV show The Practice, Brian Bedford in 1994's Miracle on 34th Street, and Special Agent Remy Scott in the TV show FBI Most Wanted. John Hurd as Captain Brian Tillman. Before his passing in July of 2017, other roles for John Hurd include Peter McAllister in Home Alone, Captain Frank Larson in The Guardian, and Governor Frank Tancredi in the TV show Prison Break. Cary Elwes as District Attorney Jack Reiger. Other roles for Cary Elwes include Lord Arthur Holmwood in Bram Stoker's Dracula, Garrett in Quest for Camelot, and FBI Assistant Director Brad Fulmer in the TV show The X-Files. Damian Dante Wayans as Isaiah Charles. Other roles for Damian Dante Wayans include Dwight Williams in Major Payne, Officer Wilson in Little Man, Tech in Malibu's Most Wanted. Rosalind Sanchez as Maria. Other roles for Rosalind Sanchez include Isabel Molina in Rush Hour 2, Monique Vasquez in The Game Plan, and Pilar Domingo in the TV show As the World Turns. Marco Sanchez as Reyes. Other roles for Marco Sanchez include Hernandez in Super 8, Frank Gonzalez in The Most Hated Woman in America, and Censor Chief Miguel Ortiz in the TV show Sequest ZSV. Piper Perabo as Willow Summerfield. Other roles for Piper Perabo include Annie Walker in the TV show Covert Affairs, Violet Jersey Sanford in Coyote Ugly, and Summer Higgins in the TV show Yellowstone. Francois Yip as Crow. Other roles for Francois Yip include Nancy in Rumble in the Bronx, Virago in Blade Trinity, and Amy Lee in the TV show Flatlands. Okay, honestly, I went into this movie really intrigued because of big names like Morgan Freeman and Kevin Spacey attached. and I can honestly say I really did enjoy it. Dylan McDermott plays the ultimate crooked cop, and it was fun to watch him become more unhinged as the movie went on. LL Cool J playing the straight cop opposite Dylan McDermott was a great choice. Watching the struggle Deed goes through on whether or not to do the right thing, all while Lazaroff was descending into madness. Honestly, this being Justin Timberlake's feature film debut, and he has to be in a movie with heavy hitters like Freeman and Spacey, and LL Cool J and Dylan McDermott, both whose stocks were on the rise. It was a huge task. I imagine it was a huge task for Timberlake, but honestly, he hangs with all four of them really well. Dylan McDermott was the show stealer for me. Every scene he had, I was on the edge of my seat, wanting to know how he can escalate his descent into madness. I honestly enjoyed this movie a lot, and I'm really surprised that it didn't do well in the box office. Now, I didn't find very many fun facts about the movie, but I did find some. So here they are. When a Twitter user asked his follower for a bad Kevin Spacey movie, Kevin Spacey himself replied Edison. Originally set for a U.S. theatrical release in 2005, the film was pushed back after poor test screenings. Ultimately, the film was released direct to DVD in the domestic market after remaining unreleased during a sustained time of uncertainty. And that concludes my review of Edison. If you enjoyed my deep dive into this intense crime thriller, I hope you enjoyed my deep dive into this intense crime thriller. If you enjoyed this movie, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Movies on the Brain for more movie reviews and movie content. Have you seen Edison? What did you think of the film's portrayal of corruption, the performances of its star-studded cast? Let me know in your Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing from you. If you have any movie recommendations or requests, feel free to drop them in the comment or send me a message. Your suggestions could be featured in our next review. Until next time, keep your popcorn ready, stay curious, and keep those movies on your brain. And I'll see you in the next review.